Do you ever feel like you're doing everything right, eating healthy, journaling, taking supplements, sleeping early, but you're still bloated, anxious, wired but tired, and something just still feels off? Same. And it turns out it wasn't that I wasn't doing enough, it was that I was doing too much and doing it unconsciously. When I first started my healing journey for my hormonal acne, my digestion issues, and my dermatitis, I tried so hard to do everything right. From my diet to sleep hygiene to supplementation, I did it all. But a few months in, I hit a plateau. It wasn't until I was speaking with my acupuncturist recently who asked me, "Do you take breaks throughout the day?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll go walk my dog, I'll make my lunch, and then I'll jump on my trampoline." No, like a real break. Not a break where you're doing stuff to rest, a break where you're just existing. And she was right. I never just exist. I rarely ever just sit, look out the window, and just pause. And that's when I realized healing isn't just about doing more with food and supplements and routines and all that. It's also about looking at your current lifestyle and the subconscious habits that you repeat every day without even realizing that are wrecking your gut and dysregulating your nervous system. So in this video, I'm breaking down 13 subconscious habits that you might not even realize you're doing, but they're keeping you stuck in survival mode. Let's get into it. Number one is always rushing. I recently saw this video on Instagram and it was like POV, when you remember that soft and slow is the secret to regulating your nervous system. And basically it was just this girl showing her doing everyday mundane things. She was doing all these things very aggressively, but then it would show how she could soften and do it more gently. And the whole point of the video is to show that if she just acted more softly and slowly, it would in turn help her nervous system and make her feel more safe. I used to rush everything, like brushing my teeth, getting ready for the day, typing, any task I had to just get through it. But I didn't realize that this constant urgency in the back of my mind was sending danger signals to my body all day long. So funny story, when I first got an electric toothbrush and I had been using it for many months, and then I went to the dentist, I was so excited to show the dentist that like, oh my God, look at my teeth. They actually told me that, hey, you're actually brushing too hard. And if you're someone who uses an electric toothbrush, you'll know that this is insane because you're not supposed to do any brushing with an electric toothbrush. You're really just supposed to hold it over your teeth and let the brush do its job for you. So you can imagine how intense I was doing such a mundane task. When you're rushing, your body isn't actually focused on resting or in digestion mode. It's focused on survival. That means poor enzyme release, gut motility, and potentially bloating. And when you're rushing, you're training your body that it's not safe to slow down. And that's chronic sympathetic dominance, which basically means that your default setting is fight or flight mode. So what can you actually do instead? Well, it all starts with awareness. Taking micro pauses to notice your surrounding, notice your environment, notice yourself. Breathe when you're brushing your teeth. Pause before you take a bite. Sip your drink without scrolling. So next time you're doing a mundane task, notice how you're approaching the task. Is it very harsh, abrupt, aggressive, hard, or are you approaching it with a calm manner, gently, softly? Number two is not taking proper breaks throughout the workday. So I used to stack my calendar with back-to-back tasks from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. No wonder I was always wired, exhausted, and felt so disconnected from my body by 3 p.m. Being on isn't a flex. It's the fastest way to burnout. Because when you're not taking real breaks, this doesn't give your digestion a chance to do its thing. Your gut needs rest in order to move food, produce enzymes, and reset. And when you don't have those pauses in your day, there's no parasympathetic recovery. Your nervous system stays overstimulated even if the tasks are very easy. There's also been many studies that show that the optimal work block for humans is anywhere between 90 to 120 minutes. This is approximately how long someone can stay productive, can output with high energy, or do creative work. And after this block, it's recommended that you take a break so that your mind and body can reset and recharge before your next task. Number three is holding your breath while working. Do you ever just notice sometimes you're like holding your breath when you're like deep in thought or you're deep in the middle of doing something that's super intense? I always catch myself holding my breath, especially when I'm on my laptop or on my phone, especially during deep editing tasks or when I'm doing really strategic type of work. And I didn't realize how this was actually just signaling stress to my body. Oxygen fuels digestion. So if you're barely breathing or doing very shallow breaths, your gut is barely functioning. And for your nervous system, shallow breathing is a very stressful breath. You're telling your nervous system, hey, we're in danger, over and over again. So what you can do instead is set breath cues. So just bringing awareness back to your body, and even when you're working, making an effort to inhale and then exhale slowly while you're doing your task. It doesn't need to be fancy, just intentional. Even as I'm recording this video right now, I can tell that my breath is very short. So in between takes, I'm trying to also inhale and then slowly exhale with my diaphragm. So the next subconscious habit is a no-brainer, and it's always talked about, and that's checking your phone first thing in the morning and the last thing you do before bed. How you start and end your day literally sets the tone for your entire system. I used to wake up and check my emails and my DMs first thing in the morning, look at my calendar, look at my to-do list, and then at the end of the night, I would also just check everything once more just to make sure that I didn't miss anything. You're basically starting and ending your day being stimulated. Having habits and routines outside of looking at your phone is a great way to also break free from that phone addiction. This next subconscious habit is definitely the most underrated that I think needs to be talked about, and it's eating quickly or eating while distracted. I used to eat my meals in under 10 minutes. I would eat while working, I'd eat while scrolling on social media. Even though what I was eating was healthy, I would always just get like stomach aches, I would feel bloated, I just didn't feel good. And it's because I wasn't properly chewing or nor digesting my food. In Buddhist teachings, mindful chewing is actually very important for your health and mindfulness. And even in Western science, we know that chewing your food properly, looking at your food mindfully, thinking about what you're eating, thinking about the flavors, all of this contributes to better digestion once your food goes down the pipe. So next time you eat your meal, put away your phone, turn off the TV, just look at your plate and look at each of the items that you're eating and chew more than you think. Chewing 20 to 30 times is a great start, but I've heard of Buddhists who chew their food 30 to 40 times, which is insane. I mean, no wonder they are so enlightened. This next subconscious habit I've talked about on my channel before, drinking coffee on an empty stomach. In my 20s, I used to drink coffee first thing in the morning and I'd skip breakfast because I was intermittent fasting and I thought I was just really, really disciplined. Spoiler, it actually just wrecked my gut and messed up my cortisol levels so much. Caffeine increases acid and bile production. And without food, this is just irritating your gut lining. As for your nervous system, coffee definitely spikes up your cortisol and it does it really fast. If you're someone that already is more stressed than usual or you're a little bit more type A to begin with, you're just adding fuel to the fire. So instead of drinking coffee on an empty stomach, the solution is quite simple. Just have a small breakfast with it, eat something warm, something grounding, and then have your matcha or coffee or whatever it is. The next habit that we do that's subconsciously damaging our gut and our nervous system is overbooking our calendars back to back. I used to fill every block in my Google Calendar to the brim. I was obsessed with getting shit done and seizing every day. But when you overbook yourself without room to breathe, without room to decompress, without time to reflect, it leaves you more burnt out than productive. We know that stress is bad for your gut motility and for your microbiome. And if there's no downtime in your calendar, that's stress inducing. So instead, set some intentional gaps throughout your day. I know life gets busy. I know life gets tough. And I know sometimes our schedules are not under our own control. When you can, cancel things that you don't need. Prioritize ruthlessly and be okay with saying no to things that don't need to be in your schedule. The next habit that we do that's pretty bad for our gut and nervous system is ignoring our body's signals. If your jaw is clenched and your shoulders are up to your neck, that's your body trying to tell you something. I used to override every body signal. Tension, fatigue, cramps, headaches. I just told myself, oh, it's not that bad. And I would just push through. Then get knots in my stomach at the end of the day. And I thought it was normal. I was like, oh, I'm just having cramps. That's normal. According to TCM, knots in your stomach relate to emotions such as overworrying, overthinking. Ignoring these bodily signals creates this disconnection from your mind and body. We now live in this world where we over-intellectualize everything, where we're hyper-logical, hyper-analytical, and that's great. But that dominant mind has taken us away from our feeling of our body. So instead of ignoring that tension in your hip, instead of ignoring that tightness in your chest, pause. Just scan your body, notice what's feeling heavy, tight, or out of place. You don't necessarily need to fix it. You don't necessarily need to book an appointment, but just feel it and think about potentially why it could be happening. The more connected you are with how your body feels and what it needs, the easier it is to detect something that's oncoming and to adjust it before it gets worse. The next one is ruminating and replaying old scenarios and old conversations. Overthinking doesn't only drain your mind, but it also drains your body. I used to be a huge overthinker, still kind of am deep down. I'd replay convos or scenarios in my head for days, months, and honestly, sometimes years. Thinking about what I said, how I sounded, was I too much? Should I have said something else? Maybe it could have turned out differently. I'm keeping my body stuck in the past. This mental stress creates physical stress. Your digestion slows down, inflammation can go up, and your gut flora suffers. And for your nervous system, the brain doesn't know the difference between real threat and a perceived threat or imaginary threat. Ruminating constantly or thinking about these old past things that have happened, it keeps you in that survival mode. So instead, you really need to just ground yourself and let it go. Tell yourself that you're safe now. Tell yourself that whatever happened doesn't matter anymore. So I found the easiest way to really just stop ruminating, stop overthinking about the past, is to just confront it either head on and get it over with, speak about it, or journal about it. And at the end of the day, just recognizing that time will heal all. The next subconscious habit is over-intellectualizing your emotions. I was the queen of reframing my emotions and trying to understand the logic behind why I feel the way I feel. So just because you understand your feelings doesn't mean that you've actually felt them. This is bad for your gut because unprocessed emotions literally stay stagnated in your body in the gut-liver axis. In traditional Chinese medicine, this is called liver qi stagnation. And yes, it does mess with digestion. When your emotions get stuck, so does your energy. It's okay to be sad, it's okay to be frustrated, and it's okay to actually not know what you're feeling. Let yourself cry, let yourself be angry, yell, shake, punch a pillow, whatever you need to do. You don't need to explain it to yourself, you don't need to explain it to other people, you just need to express it. And I think especially as women, like, we don't want to be seen as so emotional sometimes, or at least this is how I feel. And I've realized that being emotional isn't a bad thing, but for whatever reason, I have this mentality that being too emotional isn't good for your work ethic. It's not good for your character. And I think once I started to embrace that, hey, I do have emotions and it's okay to have it. Like, I don't need to be hard all the time or be logical all the time. It's okay to be soft and it's okay to be sad and it's okay to be all these opposite traits. That's when I felt the most free and I felt even stronger, actually, was when I started to embrace the full spectrum of different emotions that I can feel. And the next thing is feeling guilty for resting. If rest makes you anxious and vacations make you nervous, that's not ambition. It's just you being stuck in survival mode. I'm someone that cannot sit still. So if you'd put me on a beach, I would literally be trying to think of things that I could do to be productive on the beach. I'd be like, oh, maybe I should read a book. You know, maybe I should think of new content ideas. Oh, maybe I should script my next week's YouTube video. I used to think that this was just me being super productive. Oh, I'm such a go-getter. I'm always just trying to get things done. Like, I don't waste no time, seize the day, blah, blah, blah. That's just constant survival mode behavior. My idea of rest would be booking a massage, going to a sauna, going to a sound bath, doing zone 2 cardio. All of these things I just listed are great, but I'm just still doing. That's what causes the gut imbalance. That's what causes poor digestion. That's what causes fatigue and blood sugar crashes. You're never giving your nervous system a chance to drop into the parasympathetic state. By doing, that is literally telling your nervous system, don't stop, keep going. We got to keep going. For me, I found that the biggest way to kind of shift your mindset about this is to just start small. Schedule time where you're just resting and literally doing nothing. It can just be like 15 minutes to start. Stare at the trees, look at the water. Let yourself feel safe with doing nothing. Eventually, that's going to retrain your mind that it's okay to rest. And then eventually that's going to signal to your body, hey, we're safe. Turn on the parasympathetic mode. The next subconscious habit that we do is saying yes to everything, aka people pleasing. I used to say yes to everything. Even things that I did not want to do because I just didn't want to disappoint people. I didn't want to cause drama or conflict. I was actually criticized for being not agreeable and for always trying to do things differently than what the group wanted to do. That resentment had to show up somewhere and it showed up in my gut. People pleasing triggers gut tension because you're ultimately suppressing your truth and then your stomach is just going to hold up all the stress. And then when you abandon yourself in order to keep the peace or be liked, that's when your body no longer feels safe. So instead, practice saying no, even if it's uncomfortable, even if you think you're being rude, even if you think that someone's gonna get mad at you, just do it. Say no. Your time and energy is so valuable and it's okay to be selfish about it, especially if you don't want to be at that party, especially if you don't want to go to that event. And the last one, which is not really a habit, but it's more so a mindset, is living with a scarcity mindset. So scarcity mindset is when you feel like there's not enough in the world to go around, whether it's things like time, money, rest, opportunities. This type of mindset often stems from your upbringing, whether you grew up poor or with immigrant parents. And for me, I used to micromanage every part of my life, my health, my business, my schedule, thinking that if I just controlled everything, I'd feel safe. But underneath that hustle, it was just fear of not having enough, not being successful, falling behind, fear of what was actually going to happen if I let my guard down and if I slow down. All of that raises your cortisol levels and it's going to impact your digestion and a bunch of other things. And for your nervous system, when you're constantly living in that scarce mindset, you're telling your body that the world is unsafe and that you have to fend for yourself. It activates this hypervigilance mode and makes it hard to trust, receive, and to relax. What you can do is just start catching your scarce thoughts and try reframing them into safe thoughts. I have what I need. I have more than enough. There is so much abundance. I have abundance. Those are all the subconscious habits that we do that are secretly damaging our gut and our nervous system. If you caught yourself doing any of these, don't worry. I'm in the same boat. I've done these for many, many, many years, and some of them I'm still doing, not gonna lie. Your body is finally asking for something different. Just noticing that these things are even happening is a great first step to begin to make changes. So let me know in the comments which one of these habits hit the hardest for you. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit subscribe for weekly videos on gut health, nervous system healing, and just my journey as an overly type A person who is learning to slow down and reconnect with her body. If you're a fan of this content, I also have a monthly newsletter where I send out some of my favorite tips, tools, and hacks for gut and nervous system healing, mindset shifts. It's just once a month that I send out a little digest, and it's a really fun read and it's free. All you have to do is subscribe using the link in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.